Listen, if you have any dignity, if you have any morality, if you have anything to you at all, then you're gonna want to watch this video, because I am about to expose what this specific person is trying to do if they get into office. Literal things that they have stated. Listen, you need to watch this, because I can guarantee you it's gonna make your blood boil. And I am not mad at any person, I am mad at the devil, because there is a wicked agenda that he is trying to push onto society. This has been going on for decades and even centuries, and it's tried to creep more and more into the USA. But we need people who will stand up, put a stop to this by exposing the truth and preaching the uncompromised word of God. Let's hop straight into this today, and I'm telling you right now, this is gonna blow your mind. Alright, so I am right here on X, and this is coming straight from Kamala Harris. This is not AI. I had somebody tell me that, this is AI. No, this isn't AI. This is real. I believe this was on NBC, and this just happened. So this isn't something from years past. This just happened. Now listen, you're gonna want to watch this, but when I show you a phone call from a young lady that she literally called a late-term abortion center, and she called them and discussed what she wanted, and she was playing the whole game. But listen, it's so emotional, you're probably gonna want to cry. That's in 2 videos from now. Timestamp will be on the screen, but I would highly suggest don't just skip to that. Watch these first 2 videos and prepare to have chills on your body. So this is Kamala Harris talking about religious exemptions and when that comes into abortions.
Some of those voters that I spoke with at some of the events yesterday, for example, talked about they were there to support you, but also your agenda when it comes to reproductive rights and abortion access. And you have cast this as a matter of literal life and death, as an urgent priority here. If you win, it is entirely possible that Congress will be controlled by Republicans. So what specific concessions would you be willing to make in order to get something done on abortion access as soon as possible? Religious exemptions, for example, is that something that you would consider?
I don't think.
Now listen, religious exemptions, we need to have our religion very important to us. As Christians, we need to take it serious. We need to take it very, very serious. Even here, and I'll get back to this video, but the First Amendment, what is it? Free speech. I have to even watch out what I say with even concerning abortion, because I don't want to get demonetized or get banned, which that could be a possibility if you get on the wrong side. Listen, guys, this is sad that we live in the United States and there's things like this happening.
I think we should be making concessions when we're talking about a fundamental freedom to make decisions about your own body. A basic freedom has been taken from the women of America. The freedom to make decisions about their own body. And that cannot be negotiable.
Wow.
Which is that we need to put back in the protections of Roe v. Wade.
Some of those
Roe v. Wade was overturned just a few years back, and I remember when that happened. That happened, and everybody was so excited. They were clapping for Jesus, saying, yes, we did it. Now this lady, she's trying to get back in office and undo everything that was done and the celebration of Christians. She wants to change it all. Now this video that I'm about to play you here, if you thought that other one was crazy, listen to this one. This is a bill that Kamala Harris would actually like to support. This is a bill, listen. A close inspection of this bill does allow for the legalization of killing of innocent newborn children up to the age of 28 days. Listen, I don't see how you can watch the clips that I'm showing you right now and not have something rise up inside of you that says, man, I want to do something about the wicked agenda that's happening in my country. Please watch closely.
The ambiguity of the...
This was in California. By the way, they tried to pass this in California in 2023.
bill is clear. However, a close inspection of this bill does allow for the legalization of the killing of innocent newborn children up to the age of 28 days. A yes vote is an unequivocal and complete approval of the legalized killing of a newborn baby. And with all of my heart, I oppose AB 2223 and urge you to vote no.
He said, I urge you to vote no. Listen, I would urge anybody hearing that as well to vote no. Vote no. Now, this is the video that I was telling you about that's going to get you very emotional. And just please have caution while watching this. This is, okay, Kamala in quotes, which she said, "You can't get late-term or post-birth abortions in any state." Me doing a quick search on social media. Oh, really? Listen, Kamala Harris, she can say one thing to your face, but we all know what she really wants. We all know what she really wants. Listen, this is absolutely crazy. Slazy calls a late-term abortion facility. Listen to this.
I'm looking to have an abortion.
How far along are you?
I'm 34 right now. My boyfriend is kind of out of the picture now, so I don't really have any support.
Just so you get she said 34 weeks. 34 weeks. The average lady has the baby at 38 weeks. My sister is pregnant, and she is in her 38th week right now. And this Friday, it's Tuesday, right? And she's trying to have the baby on Friday. Listen, that's serious. Very serious. And of course, she's just playing. She's just trying to see. This is serious.
It's a 4 to 5 day procedure. A needle is inserted through the abdomen and into the fetal heart. Lidocaine is injected, and that will completely numb the fetus. After that, we inject a medication called digoxin and another medication called KCL, which will slow and then stop the fetal heartbeat. And then we'll give you a medication called misoprostol. Misoprostol will sort of induce contraction, will assist you in sort of pushing in the induction, and then remove all of the products.
Are you hearing what I'm hearing right now? Are you hearing what I'm hearing?
You're definitely going to feel discomfort and cramping, but we do give you fentanyl and Versed during the procedure. We specialize in later trimester care. Our doctor is very well versed in what he's doing, and he's very good.
So I'm not like a rare situation. Y'all help women this late in pregnancy all the time?
All the time.
All the time. All the time. Now, before I show you this next clip with Kamala Harris, it's just, I want you to know, because I want you to hear my heart. I am not against anybody who has an abortion. I'm not against anybody who has had that. I know several people who have had that in times past, and they're Christians now. They serve the Lord now. That there is redemption for you. God can cleanse you. He can restore everything. And that baby is actually in heaven. Listen, I'm not your enemy. I just want you to know what the candidate that people are voting for is actually wanting to happen if she gets in the White House these next 4 years. People need to know the exposing of this wicked agenda. This is a X video from Paul, and he said Kamala Harris says that she wants, listen, no restrictions on abortion at all. She wants a woman to be able to decide with her doctor whether to abort a healthy baby up to, listen, the moment of birth. This should be a warning to anybody who's wanting to vote this party. Listen.
So that's where I stand. We need to put back in place the protection of Roe v. Wade and put that into law.
And those restrictions that are also in.
We need to put back in place the protections of Roe v. Wade and let an individual, in consultation with her doctor, make the decision based on what she can determine, because she's smart enough to know what's in her best interest instead of having her government tell her what to do, especially a bunch of people in these state capitals who think they're in a better position to tell her what to do than she is to know what's in her best interest. So that...
You know, it's funny that all these people, they want abortions, but they wouldn't have been if their mom aborted them. They wouldn't have been for that. Fast forward 30 years to where you are present day. Rewind 30 years ago. Would you want your mom to do what you want happening to all these babies? No, because you wouldn't be here. It's very hypocritical.
In the
now,
debate,
listen, this was on the Call Her Daddy podcast, which that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother time. But listen to what she has to say.
In the debate, former President Trump claimed that some states are executing babies after birth. Can you just clarify?
That is not happening anywhere in the United States. It is not happening, and it's a lie. It's a bold-faced lie.
Really? It's a bold-faced lie? Because I'm about to show you some evidence, and you may have different opinions on this. I think 34 weeks, and they're saying late term, yeah, you can do. That's basically if the baby is born. That's basically if the baby is born. And they're saying post-birth. I understand that. I'm about to show you some proof here that what she's saying is a lie. But she does not have any wanting or longing for her to save innocent life. She wants to find a way to actually help mothers get rid of innocent life. And this is actually where they're talking about in the debate. I'll show you the exact clip so you know for reference.
You should ask, will she allow abortion in the 8th month, 9th month, 7th month?
Come on.
Okay, would you do that?
And she makes him look like a fool, but listen to what she says.
Why don't you ask her that question?
Why don't you answer
That's the
question?
problem.
Would you
because
veto?
under Roe v.
Answer
Wade,
the question, would you veto?
you could do abortions in the 7th month, the 8th month, the 9th month,
not true.
and you could do abortions.
Listen, she didn't answer. He said answer the question. Listen.
The 7th month, the 8th month, the 9th month,
not true.
and you could do. Would you
Listen.
do that? Why don't you ask her that question?
Why don't you answer the question? She never answered the question. She just avoided it because secretly we all know her heart. Now listen, this is what it says right here. Fact checks, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that name, claim on that there was not a single case where a woman had a post-birth abortion. They're saying that it's not true. But watch this.
As you know, the conservatives here talking about post-birth abortion, really name one case in the entire country where a woman had a baby and then executed it, and the state said, "Oh, that's totally okay. We allow post-birth abortions."
There were 8 cases.
You can't name one case because it's never happened, and you guys sound.
There were 8 cases under Tim Walz,
no.
Kamala's running mate, and I think that people think that it's very uncommon. It's not uncommon. Yeah, maybe 40 years ago, it's happening more and more and more. And if a specific person gets in office, you're going to see a lot more of it happening, very sadly. Now, if you still don't agree with what I'm saying, listen from it coming from this lady right here. She kind of exposes what Kamala is standing for, and if you vote that way, what you're actually standing for, and may not even be realized.
So I'm seeing a lot of posts saying I'm with her regarding Kamala Harris, and it feels like a good time to let you know that Kamala Harris not only voted against, but rallied against the Born Alive Protection Act, which would give infants...
Rallied against the Born Alive Protection Act. She rallied against that. So when you go in there and you pull the lever or you put in your card and you press the button and press OK, I want to vote that way. This is actually what you're supporting.
Born alive from failed abortions, life-saving medical care. Wait, what? There's babies who are born alive from failed abortions? Yep. And there's a database of tens of thousands of them. These
tens of thousands. So they're saying that, you know, that this doesn't happen. It's very rare. No. Tens of thousands. And people will mock it and say that's a lie, but they need to do their own research. They try to cover it up because it makes people look bad. It's bad PR. But listen, things like this really are going on in America. They're just being shoved under the rug. But no longer, because there's a generation of people who are sharing the truth. Let's continue.
Babies who are no longer in their mother's womb. You know, the classic my body, my choice. It doesn't really apply here anymore because the babies are no longer inside of their mother's womb. They are outside. They have been born. So when you say I'm with her, that's what you're supporting.
Absolutely crazy. And you know, I understand people have the argument of what about rape? What about incest? What about all these things? Listen, I'll just tell you this. It may not be the woman's fault, but if you ask any person that has kept the baby, after being a tragic raped or being, well, whatever it is, they'll always tell you, I do not regret my decision. I don't regret my decision that I kept it. There are people alive today that are 20, 30 years old, that they're a product of rape. And they say, I'm so thankful that my mom kept me. I'm so thankful. And the mom is crying saying, I'm so thankful that 30 years ago I didn't go into Planned Parenthood and do what I was thinking about doing. Listen, it never turns out that, man, I regret my decision. No. It always turns out that I'm thankful that I did what I did. But with people who have abortions, what typically happens? They feel guilt. They feel shame. Why? Because it's the shedding of innocent blood. And even if you didn't choose to have that happen to you, it's still, I believe it would still be the right thing personally to go ahead and have that baby and go ahead and take care of that baby. And even if you have to give it to another family. And here's the thing, you can pray and God can help you. God is a problem solver. He cares for you. He's compassionate. The Bible says many times in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John that Jesus had compassion on the crowd. Jesus had compassion on people. And Jesus will have compassion on you. And he'll give you a way. Hey, if maybe you're young and hey, here you can have this baby for some... God will have compassion on you. So here's another clip Kamala Harris refuses to name any restrictions she would support on abortion legalization. After being asked multiple times by CBS News' Norah O'Donnell, let's put back in place Roe v. Wade. Listen.
Talked about restoring Roe versus Wade.
But I am very clear.
But you've not said what restrictions you would support.
Let's put back in place Roe versus Wade. This was not an issue. When Roe versus Wade was intact, for 50 years, half a century, women, together with their physicians, were here at a medical office talking with physicians. Women in consultation, if they chose, with their priest, their pastor, their rabbi, their imam.
So you do support restrictions?
Their priest, their pastor, their rabbi. Pastor? Which pastor would recommend that? I know some would.
After viability.
I support Roe versus Wade being put back into law by Congress.
She always avoids the question. Always.
And to restore the fundamental right of women to make decisions about their own body. It is that basic.
But you know, there are restrictions. With Roe versus Wade, there were restrictions after viability.
We would not be debating this if Donald Trump had not hand-selected.
She's not answering the question. Why? Because she knows what she could really say, and she knows it would turn a lot of people away.
3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade, and what we have seen.
She's saying it like it's a bad thing. It's not. It was the best thing that could have ever happened.
As demonstrated last night and every day these last 2 years, is extraordinary harm.
Well, I'll take that back. The best thing that could have ever happened is it got rid of it completely.
That has occurred in America, where women have died because of Trump abortion bans, where women who have survived rape and girls' incest, and no exception for someone whose body has been violated to make a decision about what happens to their body next. We have seen women who are experiencing a miscarriage around a pregnancy they prayed for, and being denied health care because doctors are afraid they're going to go to prison, and those women developing sepsis. We have seen extraordinary harm and pain and suffering happen because of what Donald Trump did in intending and effectuating an overturning of Roe v. Wade. Yes, my first priority is to put back in place those protections and to stop this pain and to stop this injustice that is happening around our country.
So then why not say what restrictions you would support as part of that?
Yeah, why not?
I told you. Let's put back in place Roe v. Wade.
And
she just always avoids the question again and again and again. That's because she has no restrictions. She has no restrictions at all. This and I heard this one way put. It's all built on sexual immorality. And I know that there are cases of, if it comes down to life or death, for the mother and that's extremely, extremely rare. I already voiced my opinion on if it's rape or incest or something like that. But if you're just going out and you're living it up, you're sleeping with whomever, and then suddenly, boom, you unwanted pregnancy. You did that. You did that. And there's grace and mercy if that's been in your past and you've been forgiven and you ask God, I'm sorry. Yeah, there's grace, there's redemption for you. But if you're currently living that lifestyle and you find nothing wrong to it, I fear that you have no fear of God in you. You have no fear of God that's just living sexually immoral, and then you want to just get rid of the baby that you created. The baby that you actually voiced, yes, let's do this. And you knew the repercussions, but you didn't do anything about it. Now, if you thought all these were crazy, it builds on one another. Listen.
Did Democrats fail, past Democratic presidents, congressional leaders, to not codify Roe v. Wade over the past 5 decades?
I do believe that we should have rightly believed, but we certainly believe that certain issues are just settled. Certain issues are just settled.
Certain issues are just like what? Like what issues?
Clearly we're not.
No, that's right. And that's why I do believe that we are living, sadly, in real unsettled times. There's another example of this point, voting rights. The fundamental principle of our democracy is everyone should have access, who are entitled to have access to vote. And now you see states across the country that are intentionally making it more difficult for people to vote. We thought that was settled. We thought that was settled, at least by law, in the 60s. We look now at the issue of choice. We thought that was settled.
What will this administration do to try to codify Roe, through
What will this administration do to try to codify
Congress, put into law some of these priorities?
What we will do through the executive branch to ensure that women have the ability to travel freely, unencumbered, that women will have access to the medication. But we also need Congress to act, because that branch of government is where we actually codify, which means put into law.
Listen, I don't think people understand that it's not just the president who matters. It's also Congress who matters. It's a lot of other things behind the scenes that people don't really see or hear about. It's not just the president. It's not like a king and a dictator that can just say whatever and, yeah, this goes, law this, law that. No, it has to go through Congress. It has to go through different things, different acts, and people have to prove or deny it. That's why it's so important to have a good president, because they can actually change different things with Congress. And what she's trying to do is get things in Congress where even if you have a Republican in office, it doesn't affect what they want to do in this agenda they have.
The rights that, again, we took for granted, but clearly have now been taken from the women of America. We've seen this in the past, if you think about it.
That we took for granted? Crazy. One person, she said that we took for granite, like the counter.
Voting Rights Act. Congress acted.
Granite.
Civil Rights Act. Congress acted because where there was any question, especially through the courts or any other system, about the sanctity of these rights, we decided as
the sanctity of these rights? The sanctity?
Nation, we would put it into law. That's what we need to do with Roe and the principles behind Roe.
She said that's what we need to do. We need to put it into law. So if you go for this, this is what you're actually voting for. Now, I'll play you. I think this is my final clip. I put it on 1.5 speed. Let me do that right now because I don't want to waste your time. I want to get you to the point and then get you out of here because I know you have busy lives and I want to respect your time. But listen to what this has to say, and this will furthermore prove my point into the ground. And this is going to... just listen.
So you've responded to the vice president's interview, I believe, this morning on your podcast, The Briefing, noting that she contradicts herself when she calls for a return to Roe v. Wade while refusing to place any restrictions on abortion.
Yeah, absolutely, Tony. You know, over a period of time in a presidential campaign, certain truths get clarified. And so I don't think either one of us is surprised by how radical Kamala Harris's position on abortion is. But, you know, the press has been pretty complicit in just letting her get by with generalities.
You know what? I'm actually going to put it on 1.25 speed. You know, that's so true. During a rally, you really see who they really are. Because when she was, what was she? Was she the governor of California? What was she before? You didn't really know who she was. Yeah, people could say, oh, Kamala Harris, whatever, that guy. Kind of like, you know, a lot of people, they don't like Donald Trump anymore because he's running for president. And the rally, or many people do like him because of his rally. It really exposes who you are.
One of those generalities was actually invented by the current president, Joe Biden, when he said in the aftermath of the Supreme Court's Dobbs decision that he wanted to legislate Roe back into effect. Well, you know, that is said as code language, and we've tried to point that out for a long time. They don't actually want to put Roe back into effect. What Kamala Harris wants is unrestricted abortion in all 50 states now, period.
Yeah,
and that's
exactly.
What really came out. When you refer, and you know this so well, when you claim that something's a fundamental right, you mean that it is so fundamental that it's pre-constitutional and it is basically privileged above other rights.
Listen to what he's saying. Pre-constitutional and privileged amongst other rights.
Right.
And that means for her, when she was asked directly about so-called concessions for religious liberty is not a concession. It's a constitutional right. You really see how sold out to the abortion agenda she is. And by the way, she has never, ever acknowledged any restriction on abortion up until the moment of death.
Never. Did you watch that video that I showed you down here about how they were asking her, okay, what is your thoughts on it? And she would not answer. She would not. Why? Because she doesn't have any.
President's...
she doesn't have any. Let's finish this.
Religious liberty is not a concession. It's a constitutional right. You really see how sold out to the abortion agenda she is. And by the way, she has never, ever acknowledged any restriction on abortion up until the moment of death, of the moment of birth, that is to say, in which she would not advocate for abortion, which is the death of the unborn child.
They just sidestep and say, oh, that doesn't happen. We're not talking about that. They do not explain at what point they would draw the line because, as you've pointed out, they won't. If it is a fundamental right, you can't draw a line on it.
No, you can't draw the line on it if it's a fundamental right. He hit it spot on with what he was saying there. And I want to show you this last video right here. This is of Donald Trump and his thoughts on abortion. And of course, I don't agree with everything that he believes on every single thing. But if you look at both parties, his face is kind of funny there. If you look at both parties, one is obviously much more for it than the other. Just watch this, and then I'll share some final thoughts.
They have abortion in the 9th month. They even have, and you can look at the governor of West Virginia, the previous governor of West Virginia, not the current governor, who's doing an excellent job, but the governor before, he said the baby will be born and we will decide what to do with the baby. In other words, we'll execute the baby.
Wow.
And that's why I did that, because
that's absolutely wild.
That predominates because they're radical. The Democrats are radical in that. And her vice presidential pick, which I think was a horrible pick, by the way, for our country, because he is really out of it. But her vice presidential pick says abortion in the 9th month is absolutely fine. He also says execution after birth. It's execution, no longer abortion, because the baby is born, is okay. And that's not okay with me, hence the vote. But what I did is something for 52 years. They've been trying to get Roe v. Wade into the states.
Listen, he's going to share what he did to oppose that.
And through the genius and heart and strength of 6 Supreme Court justices, we were able to do that. Now, I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. I believe strongly in it. Ronald Reagan did also. 85% of Republicans do. Exceptions. Very important. But we were able to get it, and now states are voting on it. And for the first time, you're going to see, look, this is an issue that's torn our country apart for
52
years. Every legal scholar,
every single person has a different opinion on it. It's time that we come in unity on one thing.
Every Democrat, every Republican, liberal, conservative, they all wanted this issue to be brought back to the states where the people could vote. And that's what happened.
And I'll just show you one more real quick thing, and I promise I'll let you go. In 2023, he signed into law, this is Tim Walz, the right to abortion at any stage of pregnancy. Also removed a language requiring doctors to keep an infant alive after a failed abortion. And then you can see this photo right here. Look, absolutely crazy. And then that's the person right there. And if you scroll up, this is the final video I'll play you.
Nancy Pelosi.
This is what he has to say.
My record is so pro-choice. Nancy Pelosi asked me if I should tone it down. I stand with Planned Parenthood, and we won.
So you can see both parties, and of course both parties have flaws. I'm not denying that, but if you look at both parties, which one stands for life more? Which one stands for life more? And I want to give you this final scripture as a way to just close it out and really give you some thoughts on this. Proverbs 6:17 says that there's something that the Lord actually detests and something that he hates. It says people who, hands that shed innocent blood. Meaning people who shed the lives who are innocent. Listen, those are innocent babies. Innocent babies. And of course, like we mentioned, there's different thoughts I've said during this video. But you've got to understand, at the end of the day, if you have been in that lifestyle, you can repent. You can come back to God. He'll restore you. He'll wipe away every tear, every single ounce of grief, shame, pain in your life for it. But listen, we should not advocate for that any longer. We should not promote that. We should not go for that. And I know a lot of people that, at one time they were going for that. But then what happened? They had a radical encounter with Jesus Christ and they changed their thoughts on that. I personally don't believe that you can read the Bible and see how God came to give us life. Jesus came to give us life. What's that word? Life. People are trying to take away life. If you vote this person and she gets in office, what are you doing? You're putting your stamp of approval on somebody who wants to take away life. Life is so valuable. It's the most precious gift that we have. We shouldn't take it for granted. We should really, really promote life for these Planned Parenthoods. It's not a joke. It's a very serious matter. It should be to us, and it is in God's eyes. And I'll want to tell you this. John 10:10, it says that the devil, the thief it says, but that's the devil. The devil comes to steal, listen, to kill and to destroy. But Jesus has come to give you life, and life much more abundantly. Choose who you're going to vote for wisely, because one person you're voting for pro-life. The other one, you're voting for somebody who has openly stated when they get in office, they're going to make it a mission to put back in place all these things to get life out of the hands of people. Hey, real fast before you go, I want to tell you this. A video is going to appear up on your screen in just a second, and you can give your life to Jesus Christ if you've never done that. But before you leave, I want to give you this opportunity. I am a traveling evangelist, meaning that I travel across this nation of America and I preach the gospel, because there's people out there that are right now dying and they're going to hell, and they will go that way to hell if a preacher does not come and preach the gospel to them. I want to give you an opportunity to partner with me financially and back the vision that God has given me. I have 3 levels of partnership down below in the link in the description or the link in the comments. It's a Patreon link, and that's a way that you can support me and support the mission that God has given me. If you liked what I said and if you agree with what I say, God has given me a mission to get this message out to all across America. And if you want to help me do that, you can support me by going down below in the link in the description or the link in the comments, and you can partner with me right now, today, and it would mean the world to me. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. It means so much to me. Thank you so much. I believe God's going to richly bless you because of it. Because the Bible says in Galatians 6 verse 7, it says, whatsoever a person gives, that will he receive back from the Lord. God sees your giving, and I believe he'll bless you because of it. If you want to stand with this young evangelist, you can do that. Link in the description or link in the comments. Thank you so much. A video is going to appear upon your screen right now, and I want you to give your life to the Lord. And if you've already done that, then you can watch more content over here. Thank you so much. I love you guys. Catch you in the next video.